This episode is brought to you by Subaru. Ever wonder what it's like to own a Subaru? Meet real Subaru owners. Find out on meetandowner.com. On meetandowner.com, owners create a personalized profile. You make videos, photos, text posts, communicate one-on-one with users to share a first-hand look at what owning a Subaru is really like. So check out meetandowner.com. Talk to real owners. See how a Subaru can fit your life on meetandowner.com. And stay tuned. At the end of today's show, Subaru has very kindly allowed us to give you little mini bonus episodes. And we have one after today's episode. Thank you, Subaru, for supporting the show, and enjoy it. Support for today's show comes from Squarespace. Whether you need a portfolio to showcase your work, a store to sell your products and services, or a blog to share your ideas, Squarespace gives you everything you need to make your next move into a reality, including a free domain. Not to mention, Squarespace has beautifully designed templates, customizable features. I'm telling you, it turns creating a website into a process that can be very stressful, where it's so much trial and error, into something that's simple, intuitive. You can add, arrange content with the click of a mouse. It's really simple, and it's actually really fun to get into that back end mess around. It's all simple. I use it myself. Start your free trial today at squarespace.com. Enter offer code CG to get 10% off your first purchase. CG, like me, Chris Gethard, CG at squarespace.com. You get 10% off. Hello to all the black crack addicts. It's Beautiful Anonymous. 1 hour, one phone call. No names, no holds barred.
I'd rather go one-on-one. I think it'll be more fun. And I'll get to know you and you'll get to know me.
Hello, everybody. It's your friend Chris Gethard. So happy to be here. Another episode. Beautiful Anonymous. Hey, if you like the show, why don't you go leave us a rating, review? I haven't pushed for those in a while, and it's nice. It's fun. It's fun to watch Beautiful Anonymous climb the charts and then sink back down to where it naturally floats. But it's fun. Go do it. Who cares? It's a fun time. You want to support the show? You can also buy one of our Sorry Sally t-shirts or our enamel pins at earwolf.com. Thanks, everybody who enjoyed last week's episode. Last week, we talked to swingers. We talked to a couple swingers, a very sexually experimental lifestyle. We heard about it. Very, very interesting feedback all over the internet. I monitor this stuff. As you guys know, I read it pretty obsessively. It was very funny because I saw some people who were saying, hey, I turned this one off right away because marriage is sacred. I don't think this is going to be my cup of tea. Totally understandable. Then on the other extreme, I saw many people saying, hey, that was really tame. That was pretty tame. You said up top it was going to get juicy and it didn't get that juicy. Pretty tame. And then I think there were many people in the middle ground who said, cool to talk to some swingers. So that's nice. My favorite feedback, of course, came from the Beautiful Anonymous, the community on Facebook. We're up to almost 9,000 people in that thing. Big shout out to everybody who's in there. Ruben posts a lot in that group, big contributor. He said, I can't listen to this one because they sound like my great aunt and uncle, and I'm getting the worst visuals. I'm so sorry, Ruben, that I made you think about your great aunt and uncle in a bed with 6 other people. I'm very, very sorry about that. Now on to this week. Very fun conversation with this guy. You know, this guy's at a crossroads in his life. I always love when a caller is at a crossroads in his life. His or her life calls up, wants to hear my perspective. I tell you, it's a real question for this caller. Is he going to follow his head, the smart thing to do, or his heart, the thing he really desires? We've all been there. His comes in a specific way. Also relates to a culture that I think is maybe dying out a little bit, that needs some defenders to look out for it. And he's struggling with all these feelings of the heart versus the head and responsibility and how much does he want to be involved. It was cool to talk to him. Hope it all works out well, caller. And that promise I make at the end of the episode, if you do it, I'll do it. That's all I'm going to say. Enjoy this episode. Thanks for listening to Beautiful Anonymous.
Thank you for calling Beautiful Anonymous. A beeping noise will indicate when you are on the show with the host.
Hello?
Hello, Jeff?
Yeah, hi.
What's going on, Chris?
Let's see, what's going on? Still getting the house renovated, but there's an end in sight now. Tiles are up, they've installed the countertop yesterday, so that's what's going on. What's going on?
Feels good.
Yeah, it
feels good, right?
Yeah, I mean, but I've been living in a house with no toilet or shower or sink for a month. That's okay. But next week, they're thinking end of next week, they'll be done. I'll have a toilet again. So that's good. That's the answer to...
I'm right with you. My wife and I bought a house about a year and a half ago, and it's been slow moving, trying to get everything livable and enjoyable for us.
Had you ever owned a house before?
No, nope. So I'm in my young 30s. She was less than, and we'd just been renting. We met in college and rented apartment after apartment, and then finally took the leap after getting married just a couple years ago.
Yeah, I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't realize it's like renovating a house.
I know, right?
Horrible. I don't know how to do anything.
You forget how much you depend on the people who you just call when something's wrong instead of having to just do everything.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also like I can't enter a public restroom now without being like, oh, they went with those are 2-inch hexagon tiles. Like I can't. Like, see, these guys got a penny tile backsplash. Like all these things that I never cared about before now, and I'm not going to care about it in a month. But right now,
no, you never will again.
No,
that's all you can talk about. You're just talking to strangers, like, oh, what are your feelings about this? And you realize as they're answering,
Oh, wait, your phone's breaking up a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
You can go to a different spot.
That's fine.
So I've been trying to call for a while. I almost got through. Interestingly, the day after my wife and I got a chance to see Career Suicide in New York.
Oh, thanks for coming.
Anyways, much belated, but great show, man. Thanks
for checking it out. That's cool.
It was fun. We got some of those the floor seats and a little sofa or whatever. That was a terrific experience. We were in New York for like 36 hours, but that's what we got to do.
Well, if you were only here for 36 hours, it genuinely does mean a lot that you set aside 1.5 hours to hear me talk about my struggles with mental health issues.
Well, look, that's what everybody says, right? They say if you go to New York, you have to schedule a one-on-one meeting with Lin-Manuel. He'll take time with you, and then listen to Chris. Lose it.
The first one almost impossible. The second one very easy.
Very easy, and soon easier with you take the HBO special, right?
Yeah, taped.
I'm just talking about you for the hour.
I'm into it. You give me the excuse to plug. It comes out May 6th. I don't know if your episode this phone call will air before or after May 6th, but either my life will change on May 6th or my life will have changed on May 6th.
So either way, people will know what you're saying now is gospel.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just just an idiot from New Jersey rolling with the punches at the end of the day.
Well, look, man, I wanted to tell you, I've got a couple things in my queue. I've been losing sleep for weeks. I can't stop thinking. And I've honestly thought, boy, I could sure benefit from a neutral third party to hear this stuff and talk it out with.
You just described me. I'm a neutral third. If I am anything,
that's right.
I am a neutral third party.
Yeah, I feel neutral about you. It's great. It works all the way around.
Perfect.
So here's what's up with me, man. A lot of weird and small health issues for the last year that have been super annoying, like digestion stuff. I'll run through it. It's super boring and cut me off, but a year and a half ago around Thanksgiving, I got pneumonia for like over a month. It was miserable. It is what it is. I just went and saw doctor after doctor, and they're like, I don't know, here's another antibiotic. I don't know, here's another antibiotic. Suck it up. And then finally kind of cleared up, but for kind of a year, I had just like the worst digestion problems and, just some gross stuff that you don't care to listen about on a Friday afternoon or whatever afternoon this is being taped anyway. I dealt with that for like a year, miserable. Every morning I just like wake up doubled over in pain. It was the worst. And finally started talking to like a naturopathic doctor, which is something, 5 years ago I would have scoffed at. But anyway, I worked with her, cleared it out. I lost like 30 pounds in 2 months.
Whoa.
And, yeah. And I wasn't obese or anything, and I'm certainly not. I'm certainly kind of scarecrowy now, but it happened quick, and now, I've had these like headaches and like pressure in my head that. I think a lot of people are complaining about bad colds and flu season this year, but I finally saw like a second specialist to talk about it, and he speculated that significant weight loss can like open up your ear canal, so like just stuff is louder and just hits your ear harder. So that's been super annoying.
That sucks. Now, this digestion stuff, has it healed up?
It's pretty good now. Yeah, I was on like a paleo diet or Whole 30 is something people talk about, where it's just nothing. You just eat meat and veg and nuts, and that's about it.
Yeah.
But no, I'm back to normal now. I can eat pizza,
good.
And boy, that was a long few months without my friend pizza.
Yeah, I historically have some digestion issues. My brother too. We're anxiety riddled. I generally know the location of the nearest public restroom, no matter where I am. I'm constantly clocking every Starbucks I pass in this city. I remember where it is. Lapin Quotidien.
And you like
very good public restrooms at Lapin Quotidien. And the very underrated
you like the little paper seats.
No, I don't know. The paper seats, sometimes if it's really nasty, I'll mess with the paper seat. But usually I'll do a thorough wipe down of the seat with toilet paper for two reasons. One, it gets it clean, and I trust that that's clean enough. Two, it's a great way to just make sure there's toilet paper there before I throw down, which is what I call it.
Oh, that's smart. It's a double check. Yeah.
The number one thing.
Yeah, you're experienced.
Living in a city, number one piece of advice I can give, we all forget hotel lobbies. Hotel lobbies. They're never going to ask.
Genius.
Yeah, especially if it's got like a lounge or a bar or a restaurant. Like, they're not going to ask if you stay there, and they keep their restrooms clean. There's pride involved in this. Hotel lobby restrooms.
Right. Plus,
oft overlooked places.
I think you and I have probably learned, you beeline it pretty within a quick pace towards a restroom. You're not getting stopped by anyone anyway.
No, definitely not. No. It takes a lot to get stopped. It really, you just have to make sure you enter a place that you know has a public restroom, because where you'll get stopped is if you have to ask for access. That's where you get stopped. Another place, consistently clean restrooms, going to give you a major hint here to the world. Home Depot.
What?
Home Depot.
That can't be true. Is that true?
Home Depot. Quality restrooms, very quality restrooms. I've noticed this in multiple states where I've had to stop and have emergency bathroom situations in Home Depots. I have theories. I have actual theories on why.
I do. I that's exactly where I am is wondering why. Is it just because there's always so many employees that are not available to help me that they're all in the bathroom cleaning?
Could be. But I have two thoughts here. One is that it mainly revolves around the world of contractors. Contractors are constantly in and out of places like a Home Depot. And contractors, first of all, they're constantly working in places where they're removing the bathrooms. They handicap themselves here. You have to realize, like, I now know from having home renovations, they rip the toilet out. So if there's a toilet they have consistent access to in a place, they're certainly not going to wreck that toilet. It is a culture of toiletless people. And they're also a culture of people who spend their time putting pride into their work rebuilding bathrooms. So by their nature, my guess would be, like, I'm never going to go in and just like, I'm not going to go in and mess up a comedy club and walk away and not think about it. That's where I practice my wares. Contractors by their nature think very hard about bathrooms. I think there's maybe a little bit of this is a temple, it's a temple.
Yeah. And again, these are thoughts that you're not going to have in another 6 months.
Well, not in
when
regards
you're done remodeling.
not in regards to like the spiritual nature of contractors and their relation to buildings as a whole, but there's no world in which I'll stop thinking about where to have emergency bathroom stops. That's always going to be a factor. That's always going to be a factor. That's just me personally. Home Depot's though, yeah.
That's awesome.
And Lowe's, they as well. They as well. I don't want to, as far as home repair superstores, I don't want to choose one or the other. But Home Depot, very consistent.
You're not biased. You're not sponsored by either one.
No. Although if either Lowe's or Home Depot wants to throw a sponsorship, I'll quickly stop mentioning the other one.
Yeah, and I'll stop mentioning the service that I occasionally get.
Yeah, let's not worry about that.
So Chris, here we go. I'm on the precipice. I've got a decision to make, and I think you'll want to win.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm considering leaving my job at a pretty successful company and setting off on my own.
Okay, wow, starting a business.
Well, yes and no. So really, it's I want to buy a small business that the owner passed away unexpectedly in December. I think it's a staple business in the area that I live, and it's basically been the dream job or goal kind of job for me for all of my life, but it's just not glamorous. There's not as much opportunity for building retirement funds or college funds for potential children, or all that stuff. It seems like I'd be giving away financial security to buy my dream job.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And this is a business that's in your world, in your area that you've patronized before. You support it.
Yeah, it's a record store, Chris. I'm in there every week. It's basically church to me.
So I see what you mean, though. You're not building a 401k out of that at this point in history,
right?
Yeah, but you're going to be happy. You're going to be in talk about the temple. That would be to you what a bathroom is to a contractor.
Right, and it would still be important to me to build out a really nice bathroom in the store too.
Now, what your current work? What's your current work entail?
So a little bit like among my friends, I'm kind of Chandler. I just kind of have this amorphous tech kind of job. So I work in market research. I work for a company that's involved with online surveys. So, anytime that you're online, you see something that says, hey, you can take a survey, answer a few questions, and you'll get a couple bucks in return. That's
buy the record store.
Kind of my world.
Buy the record store. Buy the record store.
You're bored already.
Holy shit. Buy the record store. It's okay. We're 14 minutes in. Great talking to you. I'm glad we solved that problem.
Cool. Good to see you, Chris. Nice time.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Right,
Go for it.
There's no way to not be emotional about this decision because there's no way to get excited. I love my company. The people I work with are phenomenal. This is I joined the company 4 years ago when it was 15 people. It's now over 150 across the globe. We opened up an office in London and Germany. We this company landed on the Inc. top 50 fastest growing companies. My CEO, who I talked to already about this opportunity, is super nice and supportive. They have open vacation policy. In one way, it's the Google job,
Yeah.
It's that, and I would have the opportunity to travel, feel secure by continuing to do something that I understand how to do. I'm a pretty smart guy, and I can continue being successful there. But when I come home from that job, I sit in my back room with 1,000 records, and that's all I want to do. So I don't know. I just don't know how to. I don't know how to be rational about this decision, Chris.
Yeah, that's a tough one because you do. I mean, you got a mortgage to pay. You got a family already. You got a wife. You got kids coming. These are not
I've got
small
a wife,
things.
and I'm telling her I want kids soon, and she's starting to listen. But boy, this asking her to risk this financial insecurity for indefinitely with me, and let's grow the number of mouths to feed in this house it's scary, man.
Okay, I want to walk through a couple things here. I want to try a couple experiments.
Okay.
Because I actually feel like I identify as a music guy to some level. What usually happens with me is I will find a band and I will obsess over one band. Oftentimes not current.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never up on current music. Usually if a band is if I'm hearing a lot of buzz amongst friends about a band, I will tell myself if I'm still hearing about them in like 3 years, then I'll check it out.
Right.
Like I want to make sure it has some longevity. There's a couple bands that I could name. I could name names where everybody was like, "This is the best record ever." Nobody's listening to those records anymore. They weren't the best records ever. I'm glad.
Let's do that. What were these like temporarily overhyped? Like I remember Arctic Monkeys. People said this is the next Beatles. It's incredible. And
whereas like that
just kind of.
Although like that song, they put out Emily Kane, right? That's Arctic Monkeys, isn't it?
Right.
We got to look that up. Emily Kane, beautiful song. But yeah, they're not the next Beatles. Another band that I remember, and again, I'm not trying to talk bad. Like I actually know for a fact.
No.
And I know for a fact a lot of musicians actually listen to this podcast. I have been told that Beautiful Anonymous, very popular way to kill time in the van amongst bands while they're on the road. And sometimes this overhype, first of all, I hope everybody makes their money. Go get those festival gigs while the hype is alive. But like a band like Fleet Foxes is one. Fleet Foxes, perfectly good band. Oh, Emily Kane was Art Brute, not Arctic Monkeys. I messed it up. Art Brute.
That's right. Art Brute was an even shorter lifespan.
Art Brute,
that's what I was aware it was anyway.
I applaud Art Brute because their lyrics are so personal to a degree that it's like I listen to Art Brute and I'm like, wow, you guys are oversharing. And I did a 90-minute show about wanting to kill myself. Yeah, Arctic Monkeys, we just looked it up. That was I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor. It was good. But yeah, not the next Beatles.
Yeah.
Fleet Foxes was another one that I'm like, perfectly good band, but I remember everybody saying like, this is it. These guys are like the next thing, where I'm like, those were good records. And I'm glad now I can listen and be like, oh, these songs are good, but I'm not caught up in the hype. Not that it matters. Enjoy what you enjoy.
And I think that's been the biggest part for me is removing myself from the hype, figuring out, any album I want to listen to, treat it on its own, even if it's the 5th album by an artist I care about. Who knows if they're setting out to do something completely different. So I don't prescribe to the high fidelity point of view of the record store snobbery, and that's one small reason, amid technology and big box stores and all these format changes over the last few decades. But record store snobbery is another reason that thousands of record stores closed over the last few decades, and that's not indicative of what these places, what these temples can be. I get wrapped up and I get, I'm thinking 400 steps ahead, but, this place should have local artists and it should be like collaboration of small businesses in this area. That's, back to my boring market research job for a second, like a big part of what I do is like strategic business partnerships, which, cool that I'm, in my job, I'm talking about, buying and selling millions of dollars of whatever. But the reality is it's just about talking to somebody and figuring out, hey, what do you need? Here's what I need. Can we help each other in a way that, neither of us go broke doing it? And that's what I see a good small business, a good record store doing, is being this cultural hub of the community and to be that, not so much a gatekeeper, but just a person that is close to that and allows other people and kids to have the same experiences I did, to walk into a record store on Saturday morning or whatever and just walk around, listen to whatever's playing, decide, boy, I don't really like this, but it sounds pretty good inside these four walls. Just, I think those experiences are so important. And, there's not much of a profit margin on these pieces of wax, but boy, it's the life. It sounds like I've convinced myself already, Chris. I don't know why I need to do.
Hold on, because I'm not trying to be responsible for the financial ruin of your entire family. Okay, I shoot off at the mouth pretty. Here's Here's my first question. I just called that my first question. I feel like I've already asked this guy like 35 questions. Who cares? I don't know. Anyway, we're going to hear where this all lands, what this guy's thinking. But beforehand, he's trying to start a business. We got a lot of businesses, and they all started with somebody. And luckily, many of them advertise on this show. Please do check out these products and use those promo codes. It really helps the show when you do. We'll be back soon. Let's hear from our sponsors. Are you hiring? Do you know where to post your job to find the best candidates? Posting your job in one place is not enough to find quality candidates. You want to find the perfect hire? You need to post your job on all the top job sites, and now you can. ZipRecruiter already has 9 million resumes you can search through in their database. You can add multiple people to your account. That way you make it the most efficient way for your team to find the best hire. With ZipRecruiter.com, you can post your job up to 100 job sites. That includes social media networks like Facebook and Twitter, all of that with a single click. Very handy website at ZipRecruiter.com. Shows you trending career fields, cities, searches. Find candidates in any city or industry nationwide. You post once, you watch your qualified candidates roll into ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface. No juggling emails or calls to your office. You just quickly screen your candidates, you rate them, you hire the right person fast. And if you run into any issues, don't fret about it. Okay, ZipRecruiter's friendly and human support staff. It's ready to help. Find out today why ZipRecruiter's been featured on Forbes, Wall Street Journal, Time Magazine, the New York Times, TechCrunch, and CBS, and why it's been used by over 1 million businesses. And right now, my listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/beautiful. That is ZipRecruiter.com/beautiful. One more time, try it for free. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/beautiful. How'd you like to be your own boss? Have the power to earn extra money whenever you want. Get your side hustle on and drive with Uber. That's what Charles did. Charles recently had his first child. Driving with Uber lets Charles have the flexibility he needs as a new dad and earn extra cash. When you drive with Uber, you're in control. You work around your own life. Nobody's telling you when to come, when to leave. Nobody's asking you to change your plans, come in early, stay late. You do it your way. You turn on the app when you want to work, and you turn it off when you don't. You decide when and where you want to earn that extra cash. That makes driving with Uber a great fit for just about everybody, especially if your regular schedule is always changing. My favorite part, Uber's instant pay. It makes every day payday, okay? You cash out straight from the app to your bank account. You can do that up to 5 times a day. Who doesn't like that? You get paid 5 times a day? That's pretty nice. Have the flexibility you need and earn extra cash when you want on your schedule like Charles. Drive with Uber. Go to uber.com/drive now, and every day can be payday. That's uber.com/drive now. uber.com/drive now. Certain restrictions apply. See the site for details. uber.com/drive now. Thank you to everybody who supports this show. All our advertisers, they help me bring it to you for free, and please do check out what they have to offer. In the meantime, let's get back to the phone call. Here's my first question. So the owner of the store passed away. This is clearly someone you've known for many years. I'm sure you know the family to a certain degree. Is it a matter of like someone's going to take over the store and you would love it to be you, or if somebody doesn't step up, it's going to go away?
That's the most likely. The latter is more likely. So the owner was 100% had 100% ownership. He, by the way, this was his whole life. He started a different store with 2 friends, 2 business partners, like when he was freshly 18 in the early 70s. And that store, which grew, expanded. I think that they had a couple different stores at one point, but that store was open from 73 to 04. 73 to 04. So they, all of the format changes, the Napster, all the stuff that they saw, and they closed in 04. They finally said, look, it's tough to be profitable in music, and they closed the door. So the very next year, They closed that store in '04. In '05, this guy started the store that is what we're talking about now. So it's been open for over 10 years in its current iteration, and it's just been him. So after 20 years of or 30 years fighting the industry and figuring out how to make a dime, he didn't even take a breath, man. He went right back in and said, "Look, this is what I do. This is what I want to do. I'm going to keep doing it." So, but to answer your question, he was the sole owner. He left it entirely to his wife, who wasn't a part of it. It's not like the husband and wife worked behind the counter. He wanted to make sure all his life that she focused on what she wanted to do, that her dreams remained her dreams, and his did not add undue stress to her, because there were years where his overall income was, I'm sure, a source of anxiety. But he wanted that all separate. So anyway, now she owns it. She wants it to continue, but she knows full well that that's not her decision. That it's not her business to run. So the reality is, the options that she's aware of that I think are the only options are to liquidate the inventory, which there's a couple of creative ways to do that nowadays, but just to sell off the records and close the doors, or find this magical mystery person, musical reference unintended, to take over and live this life on her husband's behalf. In reality, Chris, I don't think it's likely that she's going to find another me. And I recognize that might sound, egocentric or whatever, but I'm just I'm crazy enough, and I'm the right person to take on, again, paying for my dream job that I don't expect to, make it rain. So I think I'm the best option. I just don't know, we've got to figure out what she's comfortable selling the business for, and if that's enough, if I can afford to pay off the financing that it takes to make her that offer.
And it sounds like the type of thing, like, first of all, here's what I think is very cool about what you just said is, like, it's not just that you want to own a record store. It's that there's this guy who did, and he did it in this way that was very inspiring to you, and you want to keep alive.
Oh, absolutely.
Not just the store, but the spirit, like the mission statement of what he did. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would walk in there, whenever I could. And the second I did, this guy, the owner, he'd put up his hand to wave. He'd shout my name, ask me how things were going. Sometimes he'd have a specific recommendation. More often, he would just ask me what I was listening to. And again, that was the experience. Sometimes that meant, he convinced me, or we talked about several records, and I walked out of there, poorer and several albums richer. And there were times when I said, "Okay, cool, man. See you next week," or whatever, and that was and that was fine with him. I've been to record stores, and I've been to small businesses where I feel like if I walk out without purchasing something, I get stared at. I get I feel guilty. And that's okay, because, the owner of the business, or the person at the end of the other counter, is just hoping to feed their family at the end of the night. But, it's not the customer's responsibility to keep a store open. It's the business owner's responsibility to make that place solve a problem and do it well.
Yeah. Does your wife work? And importantly, does your wife get health insurance at her work?
Very good question. She does, and she just started working from home. She got a promotion that she's basically overseeing what she was doing for basically a company kind of like Head Start, little pre-K daycare and up through the young childhood education. But she kind of oversees a couple different Head Start programs across the country. She does that from home now. It's an okay living. She does not have. She's on my health insurance through work, and I think that's been very strategic. I don't think what she has offered through her job is very good.
Yeah.
And when we started the call talking about my health issues in the last year, you hit the nail on the head that's a concern.
Yeah, it's not like someone with severe digestive issues needs to enter a life of constant stress, pressure, and anxiety. Owning a record store, which is a beautiful thing, but we can also admit in 2017 is the ones that survive. It's a lot of work. I would imagine by the nature of this, it's not like you could just invest in it, keep your current job, and employ other people who would help run it. I would imagine it's the type of place that you're going to need to be there every day to set the tone you want to set.
So that's how I envision it. And the reality is there are signs that point to it being possible to quote unquote have it all. That's actually, those are words that my CEO said to me when I told him this, keep me posted. Let me know if there's a way that you can, stay on here and do that and have it all. We'll work towards that. Currently there's just like 6 kids working at the store, that one of them's kind of stepped up as manager after the owner passed, and they're just running no huddle offense, keeping this place afloat, for the last few months. They're doing a pretty good job. And they cover all hours of the store, so on one hand, I could make the investment and let it continue, try to continue working my current job. But, I don't think that the store's, got enough. I don't think it would pay me. If I were to do that and the store would break even, those kids would get paid, which is great. The thing would continue, and it would continue exactly as it is, which is good, Chris. The store is good. There's lots of great to be said about it. But again, I think about it has to have a direction. These kids in their mid-20s that were thrust into making leadership decisions for a small business. We're rolling the dice every day, and at some point, distributors are going to get concerned that checks are becoming late. Then new releases aren't on the shelves, and people lose faith in the store. And then every bit of the store's name and identity and brand that it's built over years starts to chip away. So anyway, I guess the short answer is I don't think I could live with myself if I didn't put every idea and every bit of energy I had into it. But I don't know. My current job, I think they'll offer me something to either change my mind or to keep me. I've been pretty good for them for several years, but I'm not so disillusioned that I know they won't be, fine in a heartbeat without me.
Well, okay. I want to just give a big caveat, which is that there's no world in which I should give anyone advice on really anything.
Sure.
I've walked my own path. I've managed to make it work. There's nothing about the life I've managed to lead that truly applies to other people. But I can say this is, first of all, before I put any ideas in your head and ruin your life and you blame me forever, you got a family, you got a mortgage, you got health issues. Yep. Those are very, very real things.
Yep.
I don't have to look your family in the eye. I don't have to answer to the bank when the mortgage is a few days late. I don't have to deal with your doctors if you go on bad health insurance. But I can say this, just from what you're describing me, is that there's more marketing jobs there's always going to be more marketing jobs. But if the dream of this guy's dream dies, it never comes back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fair and succinct way to put it.
Those records get liquidated. That's one less record store. You don't see too many new record stores. You see the old ones die. Nope. You don't see new ones. You see chains. You see ones that are maybe outreaches of record labels that are also like event spaces for artists. You don't see the neighborhood record stores coming up.
No, and the whole industry has been so hard to talk about, to forecast for so long, and I think that's that's one reason. I mean, you're right that the trend is one way and one way only in terms of brick and mortar stores, and that's fewer and fewer and fewer. We also know at the same time in the last 10 years, vinyl sales have increased each and every year. It's forecasted currently that will continue for at least 5 to 10 years. Not that we're, assuming a bubble will burst, just that we can't even pretend to know beyond that. I think it's absurd to, forecast even 5, 10 years out when who knows, in your and my lifetimes alone, like from curly Q corded phones in the wall that we wanted the longest cord so we could go hide in the closet and talk on the phone, to any song or artist that we ever want. All we have to do is start typing on our phone, and our phone says, "Oh yeah, I got you," and spits out whatever we want. Like, it's crazy to imagine or to think that we can know, okay, well, vinyl sales were X amount this year because of Adele and 21 Pilots, and now Jack White opened Third Man Records in Detroit, so we've got another pressing plan, and Gotta Groove out of Cleveland is upping their capacity. So this vinyl slowdown, because that's a big issue right now. Bands and labels can't get stuff pressed for 6, 8, 9 months or more. They've got to plan so far in ahead.
Yeah.
And
well, that's record store day too.
Yeah.
Record store day is like a huge boon.
Yeah.
But it's also got some moral stuff there too. There's some moral implications to it.
Nobody has only positive things to say about record store day. And, that's unfortunate because I think everybody would agree that upon its inception, that thing was designed to be just a wonderful thing for small businesses and for fans of music. This thing was a wonderful idea. And now, there's tons of things we could talk about, but I'm going to go wait in line for the 14th pressing of this, Springsteen album that I have 4 other copies of. And, this copy is on splatter swirl color vinyl, and there's only 2,500 of them. So it's got to be important to me. It's that kind of stuff that it takes advantage of this younger generation that's interested in vinyl, interested in this format. And it's frustrating, but I also recognize that if there's a market for it, people are going to try to make the money on it.
I've also heard, I know from the record label standpoint, there's a lot of labels that have supported vinyl, small labels, forever. And now these major labels step in and realize, we can make a lot of money off this. And then the small labels can't get their stuff printed on time because the big labels can come in and spend money. But who cares about all that?
It's crazy. Just because, for sure. Just because Beyonce wants to put something out like the second she wants, this band that recorded their album 1.5 years ago has to wait another year to even start talking about it because they can't get it pressed.
And then they can't plan their tour, and they can't get out there because they don't have the product, and blah, blah, blah. Here's a question I have for you.
Yeah.
Here's a thing I want to hear from you, because you're a guy who cares about this stuff. You've done market research. Like, you understand there's a 5 to 10 year forecast on this and that. Like, what you're talking about, and I'm pretty certain that splatter colored Springsteen vinyl with 2,500 copies is not a theoretical example. My guess is that's
it is. Somebody listening will say that doesn't exist. It was an example, but
they're out there. These
it's
things
pretty close to what would be true.
Here's what I want to know from you, though. Okay, outside of any business stress, outside of any of this, take me back. I remember I started getting into music and figuring out it wasn't just my dad's take. It wasn't just what I heard on the radio. It's like 13, 14 years old. Take me back. What's the first piece of vinyl that you get yourself, that you put it on where you're like, this is it. This is my thing now. What's the thing that keeps you going back to record stores the rest of your life?
There's a couple different elements to it. So first of all, I owned some vinyl before I had a turntable, and I feel like I should blush when I say that, but I think again, just to a comment on my market research nature Venn diagram with this industry, I think there was research done last year that of people who bought a piece of vinyl last year, at least one vinyl record last year, I think it was something like 48%, like half of people that bought vinyl did not listen to it.
Yeah, it's collector's items.
So, yeah, and that's fine, right? Because most of them come with a digital download code, and the reality is, if people are buying it that way and putting it on their phone and listening to it that way, cool. They just also they want that physical ownership. They want a 1 square foot piece of art. Anyway, so I had vinyl before I was able to actually listen to it. And the first record I remember buying it was to feed more of my collector bug. It's very dangerous if I get into a collection, and just like you were saying with individual artists, if I hear a record and I get really into it, shoot, man, I've got to find that person's entire discography and quick. But so I was doing that kind of thing with out of Champaign, Illinois. There's Polyvinyl Records, and when I was in high school, probably junior year, I started to get really into just anything that they were doing. I was coming off of, early high school. I was listening to whatever whatever people around me were. It was Incubus and Bare Naked Ladies and Korn and whatever was big on. Yeah. Oh, dude. It's so far in the past, but so
I've
then
never met a record guy who was
stuff.
Incubus and Korn, and now you're.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
No, I'm not.
Well, that's what
I'm actively judging, but I'm letting it go.
That's pre-awakening, right? So
yeah,
you asked about the
what's the awakening? What's the awakening moment? I want to offer my apologies to Incubus and Korn. I got nothing against them. Everybody needs to, pay the rent. I just didn't expect a record collector guy to bring them up. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do some soul searching. I think you should as well. And maybe what will help heal your soul is some of these fine products from our sponsors and advertisers. Check them out. Use the promo codes. We'll be back with more call in a second. Support for today's show comes from Squarespace. Whatever your next big idea might be, count on Squarespace to help you create an eye-catching online platform that brings it to life. Whether you need a portfolio to showcase your work, a store to sell your products and services, or a blog to share your ideas, Squarespace gives you everything you need to look like an expert right from the start. You get a unique domain. That strengthens your brand. That makes it easier for visitors to find you. Everything rolls downhill. Success is on the way. And look, I tell you, I've been in many situations in my life. I go out on the road. I need to update tour dates. I need to put up posts, blog posts, plug this, plug that. Making a website, very, very hard for me. I always wish that there was a simple way to do it myself. That is Squarespace. They got templates. It's very easy to do it all yourself. Arrange your own content. Click of a mouse. Nothing to install or patch or upgrade ever. Nothing like that you feel is going to tip the whole boat. Although if you do have a question, you run into anything, Squarespace's award-winning 24/7 customer support can help. No dumb questions. They don't care if it's trivial seeming. They will help you out. That it's like your own IT department. So make your next move. Start your free trial at squarespace.com today. Enter offer code CG to get 10% off your first purchase. That is CG, like me, Chris Gethard. Squarespace.com. Offer code CG, 10% off. If you haven't heard Earwolf's podcast, Hollywood Handbook, yet, you got to check it out, okay? It's hilarious. I've been on there twice. It's a lot of fun. It was a good time, weird time, real weird time. It doesn't hurt that Sean and Hayes, who host the show, they're always dishing out compliments for my show. They're total sweethearts, those two. Nothing ironic or sarcastic about Sean or Hayes, Lord knows. They wear their hearts right on their sleeves, those two. They recruit great comedians and writers like Lauren Lapkus, Mike Mitchell, share their stories and secrets to making it big in Tinseltown. They leave plenty of room for wild tangents, like when Tom Sharpling, my good friend Sharpling, tries to steal Hayes to start a new podcast, The Big Apple Bible. Seriously, I've been on Hollywood Handbook twice. I could say both episodes, two of the more bizarre experiences I've ever had. First one with Hayes was very dark, very proud of it. The second with Sean, a little more real, equally weird. Stay tuned at the end of this episode to hear a message from Sean and Hayes. Go subscribe to Hollywood Handbook wherever you get your podcasts. go ahead and finish off this phone call, see if a business shall rise. Thanks for listening. Let's hear the rest of the call. What's the awakening? What's the awakening moment?
So it was bands on polyvinyl. It was stuff like Rainer Maria and Owen. Owen. Do you know Owen, Mike Kinsella from Champaign?
No. I just like pop punk. I like very juvenile pop punk.
I hear you, but I think honestly, this dude Owen, he's a very big fan of Morrissey and the Smiths.
Ooh.
He has many serious, like legitimate references to Morrissey and Smith's lyrics in song titles and in his lyrics. It's
and he's on polyvinyl.
Dude, it's good. It's polyvinyl. I swear, if you come away not appreciating it in any way, I'll stay in market research, man.
Well, no, okay. There's no need to.
Okay. Yeah, I'm overplaying my cards.
Okay, I'm gonna.
But so I was into these polyvinyl bands, and then I was just getting them all on CD. It was late '90s.
And Polyvinyl just put out Beach Slang, right? Polyvinyl put out
Beach Slang this year. They're killing it lately.
And they're putting out something by Power Bottom soon. We got some crossover here.
That's right. They just signed Pale Hound that was on tour with Power Bottom. I just got introduced to her, and that sounds great. It's awesome. I got this like braid vinyl box set, and because it was like it had a different catalog number than the CDs that I had. So for my collection, I needed to have this like 4 LP box set. And that was the first record I owned. And that, again, I didn't listen to it on that format. I listened to it on CD plenty, but I didn't listen to it on that format for quite a while after that. But it started this collection. It started like I wanted to look at that. And from that moment, like I kind of lost all stock in the CD collection that I'd been building over the years and started parsing that and trading in for, the same albums on vinyl. And now, staring at 1,000 records in front of me. And it's hard to do that sometimes without realizing what the cost has been over the years.
But hey, it makes you happy. Black crack. They call it black crack.
It does.
You ever heard that phrase, vinyl? They call it black crack. It's addictive.
I have not. Maybe I should change the store name to that.
I can remember like individual songs that I look back on where I'm like, that just deflected my whole life towards something different because I heard that song when I was 15. That's a cool thing. What's your favorite song of all time? What's your favorite song all time as a music nerd?
Oh my God, that's way too tough, man.
You've thought about it before. It's not the first time someone's asked you this question.
Yeah, but it's also not the first time I've tried to deflect this question. You know what? I don't have a good answer. I'm gonna give you a garbage answer. But it's a Cat Stevens song.
Uh-huh. Don't say Moonshadow. You better not say Moonshadow.
No, I will not. No, it's the song everybody loves called Ben Applegas. That's also a joke, as nobody knows that song. It's really, really stupid. And this is what I try to get away from. People ask me, oh, you like records? You have records? Oh, I am too. What are your favorite? Because they think the only records that exist are Beatles and Zeppelin and these things. So anyway, Cat Stevens song from Matthew and Son, one of his early songs. That's the album Here Comes My Baby is on. You probably know.
Yeah.
I like the song I'm gonna get a gun. It makes no sense. I don't identify with it in any way, but if I were to guess the song that I'm like singing in my head without anybody knowing more often than not, it's probably that.
Okay, I'm gonna write this down too. Cat Stevens, I'm gonna get me a gun. Okay, that's another one. I'm looking up. I'm setting aside all this polyvinyl stuff. Mine is I think
it's because like Cat Stevens, it's just that sweet voice that you're so used to, and it's just like young Cat Stevens sounding like he's pissed off and threatening people in still kind of a sweet way. And I don't understand, and I think that's why I go back to it.
Yeah, I love it. My wife and I have a bunch of Cat Stevens stuff, and she likes them too. My wife is very, very smart about music, far smarter than I'll ever be. Great taste. And we both like Cat Stevens, but that song Moon Shadow comes on, and we have a running joke in our relationship where if that comes on shuffle while we're in the car, she'll just gently touch my arm and go, "No, baby, no Moon Shadow." Do you know that song? I'm walking in on a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow. It's like one of those weird 70s songs. It's
so
like,
bad.
Traipsing and prancing on the moon.
It's not that dissimilar from that Banapple Gas song, which is on this like weird concept album Stevens did, and I think it's kind of about the DDT and all of that stuff, chemicals and fruits and everything, and it's just bonkers.
Want to hear a secret about me that not many people know? My favorite.
I do. Can it just be between us?
No, it's going to be between us and tens of thousands of people. My favorite song, surprisingly enough, my favorite song, not a song by Morrissey or the Smiths.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Can you guess another artist in that family?
Another artist? Oh, man.
I'll just tell you the story because we don't have much time.
Yeah.
So I'm a kid. I get into the punk rock. I'm loving it. And I remember some of these albums. I remember the day I bought Love is Dead by the Mr. T Experience. And I was like, this guy is speaking my language. And now, some of those songs, a lot of the pop punk, it's like just blaming women for men's problems. Don't love that. But some of those songs, ba, 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 thank you for not being one of them. As a kid who felt a little bullied, that song, thank you for not being one of them. Anyway, I pick up a comp one day. I'm at a record store. I pick up, comps, for anybody who doesn't know, a bunch of different bands, each contribute one song, especially in the 90s. A lot of punk labels put these out. There's a song by a band called Lifetime. It's called New England. I listened to it, and I'd heard of Lifetime. I was a kid. They were a Jersey band. I'm like, this song is rad. And then I look at the liner notes, and I realize it's a cover by this guy named Billy Bragg. So I look up the original. New England by Billy Bragg. To me, that's everything a pop song needs to be. It's just a man with a guitar. It's about 2 minutes long. I could sing the whole thing off the top of my head right now. The lyrics are incredible.
I can't place it, so I'm going to look at it, or I'm going to look it up. And I think probably it's better that be the first experience than you singing it.
Maybe I don't know about it. Hold on, we're going to test that. I was 21 years when I wrote this song. I'm 22 now, but I won't be for long. People ask me, when will you grow up to be a man? But all the girls I loved in school are already pushing prams. I loved you then as I love you still. Though I put you on a pedestal, they put you on the pill. Don't feel bad about letting you go. I just feel sad about letting you know. I don't want to change the world. I'm not looking for a New England. I'm just looking for another girl. That doesn't ring any bells? That's a great chorus. I don't want to change the world. I'm not looking for a New England.
It sounded like Morrissey was singing it, but
Billy Bragg opened for the Smiths. They were all friends. Anyway, made it about me.
I'm just saying, you have a very distinct way of singing, and it's your influences are very clear.
Yeah.
Billy Bragg, that's another one. There's just so much. I don't know where to start with them. Than the Billy Bragg and Wilco albums.
Although I don't like those, and I don't know that. Classics. I don't know that.
You don't?
I don't know that he loves those either. I've read that. I don't know. I could be talking out of my
really?
I've read that they kind of butted heads. But dude, some of that, like greetings to the new brunette, great song. That song, dude, the saddest song of all. Levi Stubbs' Tears it shows up on lists. Saddest song of all time. The first line of that song is, with the money from her accident, she bought herself a mobile home. That's a great first line. This guy's a wordsmith. And that song, Waiting for the Great Leap Forward, he had a lot of political songs. And I tell you, man, he went on the Craig Ferguson show. This was like shortly after we had that war in Iraq that I think everybody now realizes, why did we even go there? and he has this song called Waiting for the Great Leap Forward, and he often adjusts the lyrics based on the politics of the times. And he went on American TV.
Yeah.
He's an English guy, went on American TV right after we got into that war, and he sang the line, I don't see how we're going to stop an axis of evil by giving smart bombs to dumb people. And I saw that. I was like, this guy's got balls of solid steel.
Wow.
And I love Billy Bragg.
Yeah. Wow.
Dude, here's the thing.
Okay. All right.
Here's
Well,
the thing I'm thinking
you got
about
it.
you.
Yeah.
Record store 2017, high percentage chance it could fail. Crash and burn.
Yeah.
You got to just decide if you're okay with that. If you're okay taking a chance on a dream. It's not an easy choice. Not when you're already in your 30s and you got a mortgage.
Right. Right. Yeah. I'm not the 18-year-old that like the original owner was with, you know,
He had all the time in the
costs
world. He had
to
all the
consider.
time to fail. You don't have as much time to fail.
Yeah.
But I'm a big fan of failure. Very, very big fan of failure. I am.
I mean, I do. I got time to fail. I disagree, Chris. I can fail still.
Hell yeah.
I'm 33 this year, a fortuitous number for somebody interested in vinyl. I could fail in my current job. I could suggest some things and realize I think about this all the time. I'm constantly making decisions that have like crazy high, price tag ramifications for my company. And for the most part, I'm doing it unchecked because the company has been, pretty small for a while. And as one of these days, something could come up and be like, oh, why wouldn't you have talked to somebody? Why would you have done something different? And then, we're having the same conversations. It all comes crashing down. My wife and mortgage are in jeopardy. I know it's more unlikely, that goes sour than a small, low margin.
But here's the other side of the coin. Here's the other side of the coin, though, is you get in on this small business. It is a struggle every day. You're working with a medium that 5 years ago people thought was completely dead, and it somehow came back to life. This vinyl thing. You have 6 employees in their 20s who are going to show up hungover. Half of them are probably musicians that are going to want to go on tour half the year. But and then on top of it, you're going to be raising kids who are going to realize they're going to start to piece together as they get older. Oh, wait, you had a real job, and then we couldn't go on. I couldn't go to Disney World because you decided you wanted to do this thing, and you're going to have your health problems, and you're not going to be on this good health insurance. But every morning, you're going to wake up, you can go there, you're going to unlock that door, walk in, inhale. You're going to smell that cardboard, that vinyl. You're going to smell it, that record store smell. You're going to see the posters on the walls. You're going to see kids come in. You're going to see that 15-year-old kid come in who doesn't know anything about music but heard some song on the radio. And that kid's going to say, like, I heard this song and it said something about London Calling. And you're going to go, I get to introduce this kid to the fucking Clash. I get to this. Yeah. This kid heard the Ramones and he doesn't know who the Ramones are. I get to show a kid.
There's a couple years before the kids put together that this decision is the reason that they can't go to Disney World or college. There's a couple years before that where, I get to take them to work on Saturday and hang around and show them what this kind of life is. Listen to music, talking to other people in the community, and caring passionately about something. That's the exact other side of it.
And you'll be able.
You're right.
Your kids
they say why.
Your kids may not be as financially secure as they would be if you stuck with this, but they will never like Incubus or Korn.
They will never. They will never.
Is this record store big enough?
I make you that solemn promise.
Do they ever do in-stores? They ever do the in-stores there? The artists come perform at the store?
That's a definite part of what they do. And that's a touch point of what I see this. But, so an in-store, there's music there, I would say at least once a month, probably every 2 to 3 weeks or so. I think that should be more. We're getting close. But let me tell you this, Chris. I got a friend in this area a couple friends in the area who started a business a few years ago here that's taking off. they bring bands into their house. They record them, audio and video. They put those live session recordings, both video and audio, out online on YouTube. And just last year, this kid and his dad, who's a professional engineer, built a custom lathe cutting machine, like a one of a kind thing. Now he brings bands into this area, records them, and within weeks he posts online, you can now order this session on vinyl. And this is happening, blocks away. So my brain is thinking this is, again, I know strategic partnerships. When I hear them, that goes hand in hand. Bands can come in through the store and the session. My store should have a corner devoted to just these, session vinyl recordings and this other small business. There's just so much.
Can I put something out there?
Can
I put two things out there? Two,
yes.
Two things selfishly on my end. One, I put out albums. I put out one album. I'll probably be putting out a new album, Career Suicide, end of this year. Put out vinyl. It's a collector's item, record label. We just do direct order. They never hit stores. We do small runs. If you buy this store, I will make your store the only store that carries the vinyl. 6 sad comedy nerds will flock to it. And if you own this store, why don't we do a live in-store Beautiful Anonymous taping from your store?
Oh my God. Chris, all right. Well, I'm meeting with the wife of this man this afternoon, and this is some fire under my belt. I'm taking you up on it, and we're getting you out to wherever I am to do that in store.
You're telling me you're buying a business based on the past 56 minutes of conversation. This was what pushed you past the tipping point of you now being a small business owner.
Yeah. I mean, Chris,
you were going to do it. You already want it. You were already right there. Because here's the thing that you and I both know, I think. Here's the thing you and I both know is that you're 33, so you're going to retire in 32 years, and there's a chance that 32 years from now you could walk away from the marketing company still thinking, what if I just did it?
Yes.
And that this record store failing would not, it would sting, but it would not hurt as much as being 65 and wishing and wondering that you went in a different way. It just won't. That's the type of guy I'm not burning a bridge, leaving what I'm doing, but absolutely the ability to sleep wondering what if is that's just too high a cost to pass up. I don't. The store fails in 10 years, or the more logical result, the store is continually just mildly above break even successful, where every day is okay, do we have enough for groceries today? Great. But also, Chris, isn't that it? Life is just being with family, eating and being happy in whatever brings you that happiness. And I'm starting to think that I can get by on less than I thought I could. Yeah, me too. Years ago, I was chasing the ego. And I wanted the big comedy stuff, and I almost had it. And I realized I came very close, and I realized, man, that didn't even make me feel better. And I went on public access TV, and my whole life changed for the better on a dead medium that everybody said was unlikely and never going to lead anywhere. But man, did I get happy. And I met my wife through it, and I get to work with all my best friends. And I feel like this record store is analogous in your life to what that public access studio was to me, which is I get to just go do what I want and be surrounded by the thing I love. And that might mean more than money. And it turned out for me it was true. It's not true for everybody.
And let me tell you, Chris, in all honesty, and it might sound like blowing smoke, but I think the two are related in more ways. I was casually, it's a weird sentence to say. I was casually aware of you for a while, but it wasn't until the public access, the Fusion iteration that both my wife and I we're just all in. And, then this podcast starts and it's just, it just clicks for both of us. But it was kind of that, that show, and seeing, look, you don't have to prescribe to whatever you feel is supposed to be happening.
30 seconds.
Your
you got
show
30
is
seconds
not
left.
what's
Keep
supposed
going.
to be a talk show or whatever. It's what you want.
What city are you in?
Can I tell you that?
I think so. Okay, I made up the rules.
You did. And I'm Toledo area.
I want to do come perform in your record store in Toledo. Hell yeah. 5 seconds left. I hope you go for it. I hope it works.
Well, I will follow up. This happened. I know there's a huge online community, and I'll, break anonymity to let them know where they can come buy your record.
We'll make it happen, man. We'll make it happen. I hope that guy in Toledo starts that record store, and I hope that we get to do a live Beautiful Anonymous there, and I hope that the greater Toledo metro area flocks to it. We can make that happen. Help this guy out. Thank you, caller. I really do hope it works out, and I hope I didn't guide you towards true life disaster. Although I don't know. It happens sometimes. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to Jared O'Connell, to Harry Nelson in the booth, helping with all the calls. Thanks to the Reverend John Valor and Greta Cohn, who really helped construct this thing in the early days. Thanks to Shellshag for all the music you hear throughout the episode. Support Shellshag. Maybe that guy will sell Shellshag records at his record store in Toledo. If you want to know more about me, chrisgeth.com. Got some road dates up there. That's where you can find out about those. And if you like this show, rate, review, subscribe on iTunes. It really does help so much. Thanks again for listening. Talk to you next time. I'm Beautiful Anonymous. Hello.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right, thank you.
That's cool. For anybody listening, I just want to explain. Subaru has very kindly funded some sort of mini episodes of my podcast where I talk to people anonymously. So we're talking for a few minutes here. I understand that you're a big fan of the Subaru brand, and that's how we've come to talk today.
Yeah, definitely. They're a great company.
Yeah, what is it that floats your boat when it comes to Subaru?
It's not just about the cars that they make. They do a lot of work for, ASPCA and the national parks. For example, I live in Southern California and I drive up to Yosemite a lot. And that's one of the reasons I bought a Subaru, was for that all-wheel drive during the winter. And currently they have a project that is where they're trying to create zero landfill around Yosemite Park.
That's super cool.
And, when it comes to the environment, that's something I'm really passionate about. So not only do they make great cars, they're looking out for the environment and animals. Who doesn't love animals?
Only cold-hearted maniacs, I think.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So wait, you're a big environmental guy, and you're driving up to Yosemite. What are you doing in Yosemite all the time? Just hanging out?
My wife's family, they have a cabin up there. They've been going for ages, and I drove a different car before, and I saw that they had Subarus, so I said, well, there's got to be something to that.
That's cool. So how'd you meet the wife then?
My current wife, we met at the gym.
At the gym?
Of all places.
How did you? How does that blossom into a marriage?
You find somebody who obviously is working hard. They're at the gym. They look good to you. You strike up a conversation. You realize they're great people, and you invite them out to eat one night, and that's when you click.
Hold on, you're playing it real cool. You're smooth, dude.
Not really.
Come on.
Not really. If you knew me, you'd be like, how did this happen?
I'm telling you.
How'd I end up with her?
The way you just described, you just see somebody at the gym. They seem nice. You walk up to them. You're like, hey, you seem cool. Let's go out to eat. I'm telling you from my end, would never, 0% chance I could ever pull that off. Because I go to the gym. I run on the elliptical for 20 minutes at a time. There's all these buff people, and they all talk to each other. The idea of me picking up, if anyone's like, that's the thing. That's you must be in good shape. That's the difference between me and you. Because if you're gonna pick somebody up at the gym, you got to be in good shape, right?
There has to be some type of physical attraction. That's true.
Yeah, nobody's like I'm a happily married man, but if I was single, if I ever tried to pick somebody at the gym, they'd be like, you know what? I think there's many other options here in the gym besides the super pasty pale dude who runs on the elliptical for 15 minutes and looks like he's going to collapse and die afterwards. I think maybe that's not what I'm going for.
Well, you never know. There are people out there that's exactly their type.
Yeah, well, comedy fans. People who are fans of comedy are attracted to pale, emotionally questionable men. So what's the best road trip you've taken with the wife? What's the most romantic road trip you've pulled off in a Subaru? Because I want to hear more about this. I have a feeling you're very smooth and you're not, and you're pretending, you're faking it on me.
Really, it doesn't matter. Anywhere we go, we have a good time. Lots of good music, good conversation, a lot of fun. But I would say the ones that stand out the most are, living in California, we've had this drought going on like crazy. There was one year when driving up to Yosemite, just everything was blanketed with snow, and it just looked amazing, especially a kid who grew up in Southern California who didn't get to see that every day. And you're just taking your time, all the trees and the ground and everything just blanketed in white. It's just so peaceful and so beautiful that you just, you have to take it all in and enjoy it.
That sounds cool, man. Thank you for talking. That was a fun conversation.
Yeah, I appreciate the time you taking the time to speak to me about it.
No, it's cool, and it's really nice to hear that Subaru's doing so much for the environment and animals and conservation. That's like genuinely makes me feel really good.
Yeah, thank you. You have a good one.
You too.
Thanks. Bye.
Hello, listeners. You're listening right now. You're probably wondering, is there a website I can go to meet other real Subaru owners? Meetanowner.com. It's full of Subaru owners telling you why they love their cars. Check it out. Next time on Beautiful Anonymous, remember what it felt like to be young and in love?
Like, probably about an hour ago, I just had my first kiss.
What?
So,
1 hour? 1 hour ago, you had your first, a monumental life moment. 1 hour ago.
So this guy, we decided yesterday that we're gonna start dating. And he has this list thing. It's kind of like a bucket list, but it's not. He calls it his to-do list. And one of them is to kiss someone in the rain. And it started raining today. And then so he texted me, come outside. And so I came outside and he walked up and kissed me.
And that was your first ever kiss 1 hour ago in the rain. That's next time on Beautiful Anonymous.
Hollywood Handbook.
Hey, so it's Sean and Hayes from Hollywood Handbook. We just want to apologize for
whatever you just listened to. I think we can all agree that sucked.
It sucked.
It sucked. It was terrible. It wasn't a good podcast. So if you want to listen to a podcast where you're laughing, having fun with
and
two
it's
of your
actually
best friends,
smart, and a show that's actually smart,
and
because
it's smart.
One of the things that what you just listened to, not only did it suck, it was stupid.
Stupid for babies. A grown-up smart podcast that's funny, that keeps you awake, is a show called Hollywood Handbook. It's hosted by your two best friends, Sean and Hayes, and we are your friends in real life.
Yes, unlike the people that did this show that you just listened to.
They're just doing it so that you'll
they don't want to be your friends, and we already are.
Yeah. So don't listen to the sucky show that you have. Do the new show. We're doing it. It's Hayes and Sean, Hollywood Handbook, and find it on Earwolf or something.
This has been an Earwolf production, executive produced by Scott Aukerman, Chris Bannon, and Colin Anderson. For more information and content, visit earwolf.com.